TikTok and whatnot are monsters. We did almost $200,000 in revenue in 3 hours. Please get serious about live social shopping. The QVC-ification of social media is here. It's coming, and it's gonna come harder. And by the way, this has been happening in China for 8 years. This is a big deal. People need to learn about it. And I believe that it will be a substantial advancement of why we spend even more time on social media. I'm obsessed with trends. I think trends matter. I think trends are demonized in our industry because a lot of people want to be slow. And I think a lot of people want to be industry-centric, not consumer-centric. I think our industry, a lot of people have demonized trends to try to claim that they are short-lived and not meaningful. But I think it's because we're overweight athletes that are retired. We don't want to play the speed game. We don't want to play the real game. I think trends matter. I think relevance matters. I think a lot of brands need to figure out how to be authentically engaging with trends. And I think it's a very important part of culture and pop culture. And it's what leads to consideration for millions and billions of people around the world. And yes, sometimes it's for a little while. And sometimes that trend becomes real and becomes foundational. I remember when I was told sneakers in work environments were a trend. Just looking around real quick at your team that came here, you're all wearing sneakers. All of you, all 3 of you on your team would have worn dress shoes if this was happening in 1989. Some version of it would have been inappropriate to wear sneakers. So sometimes trends become culture. And so I'm constantly looking at them because I look at trends as insights to what's happening with consumers. Why are we all cutting our hair? Why did we go from tight jeans to baggy jeans? Like why? And why usually sends you down a very good path of coming up with breakthrough work and marketing plans. And so I laugh when people shit on trends, especially when I pay close attention to what they do for a living. They are always someone who's either lazy or tired. You like that one?
I see it.
It's so real. It's so real. Please don't cut this part out. This industry needs to get real with itself. You know what my favorite part about this industry is? Is when we say that we set culture. Can you clip this? Can we once and for all agree? I'm just gonna make this very clear. Your fucking 30-second TV spot that runs on fucking midday television isn't doing shit for culture. Can't wait to see which Super Bowl spot from this Super Bowl sets culture in 2025. Our industry's delusional. It's lost its way. It's not 1964 anymore. We gotta get our fucking act together.
Really great. What's one myth about marketing, social marketing, and brand building that you want to bust aside from that?
What? Yeah, that was it. I really walked into that. I think the myth is that, I think the thing that's very clear to me that I think is starting to gain momentum, and I'm appreciative. By the way, all this like energy I'm bringing, it's because I love our industry. It's because I don't want people to get fired. Like, does anybody know that there's a merger of 2 holding companies? Does anybody know there's rumors of other companies going private? Like, we're not winning. And like, what happens to a 48-year-old creative director that gets out of a job right now and can't find another one? Like, I worry about our industry. Like, I'm gonna be fine. Like, I worry about our industry. And so the biggest myth is that I think most people who are watching this, if they're really deep stuck in the old world, think brand is built on a television spot. And I think brand is built in social, right? For example, I love authenticity. Right now as I'm speaking, everybody behind the camera is worried about the sound that's coming outside the room. I don't think that sound outside the room is gonna fuck you up watching this. That is what I believe.
And what about your predictions for AI, specifically AI influencers and how AI impacts social marketing?
AI is gonna impact life. Like, people are gonna be marrying AI bots in like 30 years. So yeah, I'm sorry. You might dump Lou for an AI human. AI is gonna be a big deal. And in fact, our industry, it's already affecting it. We're seeing creative being made for a lot less. That's very important. But to your question, I'm very obsessed with AI influencers. I think influencer marketing is a monster. And I think just as it's getting into its heyday, I see the next thing that's going to disrupt it, which is I'm predicting that the combination of what Disney does, right? Intellectual property, Snow White, The Lion King, Cinderella, and what influencers do, Alex Earl, Mr. Beast, is gonna come into one. Fake people, AI people, are gonna be some of the biggest influencers in the world in 10 years. And companies and humans are gonna own those people, and it's gonna be huge. And there's gonna be so many of them. There'll be more AI influencers than there are humans, meaning attempted AI influencers. In 10, 15 years, there'll probably be way more than 8 billion AI humans all trying to become influencers to monetize the way influencers do, and that's gonna be fascinating to watch. And I think that is very clear to me that that's gonna happen.
Nice. Scary. Okay, we have about 8 more minutes.
But you know what else is scary? What's scary is if your great-great-grandmother walked in right now,
This.
all of this, that's exactly right. A plane, a car, a television, an iPhone, the way we're dressed, societal norms, shit changes.
You recently talked about live social shopping and your predictions for that space. Can you tell us more about that?
Thank you for giving me the platform for this, because I'm gonna clip this in 6 years and say I told you. Live social shopping is, please, even if you're watching this to find something to make fun of me for because you wanna razz me and don't like me, please get serious about live social shopping. The QBC-ification of social media is here, it's coming, and it's gonna come harder. And by the way, I'm not some genius or know what I'm talking, like this has been happening in China for 8 years. TikTok Shop is a monster, obviously banned, but this is a global platform, so it'll still be a Whatnot is a standalone app that's doing serious numbers. And I can't imagine Meta and YouTube just sitting idle and letting TikTok and startup apps take this market. You would be flabbergasted if you look at what's going on Poshmark, Live, on eBay Live, on Amazon Live, but some of those big ones like eBay and Amazon are still small because they haven't figured out their product. TikTok and Whatnot are monsters. Back to VeeFriends, just to give you context, let me make it very real. I did a 3-hour conference room sale for VeeFriends, selling hoodies and t-shirts and socks. We did almost $200,000 in revenue in 3 hours. This is a big deal. People need to learn about it. And I believe that it will be a substantial advancement of why we spend even more time on social media. And to remind everybody, if they didn't believe me, QVC and HSN still do staggering numbers. Staggering. On cable. Selling ridiculous shit. It's gonna be huge.
What principles or mantras does your team have?
What principles and mantras does our team have? There's a lot. I think the biggest one is underpriced and overpriced attention is a big conversation at Vayner. Like, for example, I love doing TV commercials when it's the Super Bowl. I like doing social creative when it actually gets views. I love spending media dollars. We have a huge media department spending billions of dollars. I like to spend on actual reach, not potential reach. So, we have a lot of like those nerdy business mantras. I think organizationally, culturally, we have something called the Honey Empire that has really helped the company understand what we're about. We call Vayner the Honey Empire internally because we like to treat each other with honey over vinegar. It's a very big mantra here. Kindness matters. Kind candor, if you have to deliver candor, back to what I was talking about earlier. But we're also not an institution that is like a 5th generation, hedge fund where we could just burn money. So we want to build an empire. And it really helps. It goes back to, you asked me what my mom taught me. She taught me purple. I think, a lot of times employees within companies think the company's either too red or too blue, right? It's either delusional, like we're saving the world when you're like selling like random shit. Or it's like all about the bottom line and there's no humanity. Hence, by the way, I'm just gonna go on a side tangent. We must eradicate crying at agency life. Like we gotta get nicer. Holding co's, come on. Get nicer. Anyway, we're the Honey Empire. That's a mantra. We wanna be honey over vinegar, which means a lot of humanity, a lot of kindness, a lot of feelings, good stuff, but don't go too far where it's delusional and ridiculous because we're building a fucking empire and we wanna kill everybody. Not really, more like competition, you know what I mean, right? Like we wanna win. And so we're excited about that. That works. Another big mantra internally for my leadership is I want wartime generals, not peacetime generals. What that means is, of course, everyone is happy on the team when everything is prosperous. When the money's flowing in and we're having fun and let's do the Super Bowl. Show me what kind of leader you are once you become an SVP in this company when shit's hard. When the client is nasty, as a leader, are you then passing that on to your team and scaring them? Or are you blocking that as a shield and making it safe for your team? I really love leaders that understand fear is not a motivator. And so I'm looking for wartime generals, people that can stand up and be the bigger person when it's hard, not when it's easy. Those are some of the things that really run our world.
Amazing. And how is VaynerMedia unique?
VaynerMedia, especially in the landscape of our industry, is one, independent and at scale, which is a rarity. Two, has media and creative under one roof. So not in a holding company environment where they're separate companies and you create a team for a client. Like VaynerMedia has hundreds and hundreds of employees, both in media and creative, and they work together every day. So we're dramatically more integrated. VaynerMedia is unique in that we are one of the stronger creative agencies in the world, yet most of our industry doesn't think that, meaning we think in television commercial land in this industry. So even though VaynerMedia has done many, I think 16 Super Bowl spots now in the last 4 or 5 or 6 years, we are often thought of as a social creative shop to many people on the other side of this camera, which is exactly how we want it, because we think social creative is actually the new creative AOR, and that's where brand is actually built. And so I don't think anybody is as committed or as talented at the creative product in social, so I think we're unique there. We're unique that we're still founder-led, even though we're thousands of employees globally, and I'm a character, so that creates a unique thing. I think I'm incredibly well-parented, and my mother's my hero, so I think we're unique in that people don't cry at VaynerMedia the way they cry at most agencies, so I think we have a better culture. I think we're unique. Those are some things.
Can you tell us about VaynerX and what makes it unique?
VaynerX is pretty unique too. VaynerX is the holding company. When we bought Gallery Media Group, or purewow.com more specifically, before we created other websites and properties and publishing. So right off the bat, we were weird, right? When I started my holding company, I was agency, which was already unique with media and creative. And then the first thing I added was not another agency like every other company in the history of this space. We added a publisher, which was weird to begin with. So that's unique. And then we started creating other companies, a speaking bureau, unique, Vayner Speakers. Our production company within the holding company is very unique. In fact, the name of our production company is Eva Nosadam, which is Madison Avenue spelled backwards. We're unique in that we try to produce at a much lower cost. We think production's overpriced in advertising land. We produce with creative outputs for social along with the long form video. So we're really proud of that company, and Andrea, our new leader, who's been with us for a long time in the past in the UK and has come back home and is running everything globally, is incredible. We have a barter agency called Tingley Lane, which is named after the street I did my first lemonade stand in, that we're excited about. We're really unique in that it's a hodgepodge that's different than just a media and creative and maybe technology. Credit to Publicis, I think they've done more tech, but I think that's what makes us unique. It's an interesting series of companies, all with the purpose to get the thing done. I'm very passionate, and I'm very fortunate that I speak to CMOs all week long, and they come in, and you really never know where they're going or what they want, or more importantly, I think one thing that makes VaynerX and VaynerMedia very unique is that we are very convicted and have a lot of confidence, but I would argue we have a lot of humility. We say no a lot, not because we're cool, because we're not cool. We say no because we don't think we can do it well, and we're scared shitless of ruining our brand. I don't need CMOs running around at Cannes or at the Super Bowl being like, don't work with Gary, they stink, and so, we've gotten a lot of compliments the last year of how often we say no, or how often we bow out of an RFP, or more importantly, how often we don't even do RFPs. And so, Yeah, the publishing, the speaking bureau, those are some different elements. Our production company is different. We have a company named after my father called the Sasha Group, which really services predominantly now private equity owned brands. So I would call it the Fortune 5000 versus the Fortune 500. And the Sasha Group's doing extremely well, and we're proud of that. And so, yeah, it's definitely a little different than the other holding co's.
Great. And what about VeeFriends?
Well, VeeFriends is a whole nother animal altogether. What's really interesting is that, and thank you for allowing me to speak about VeeFriends in this context. I think VeeFriends, in a lot of ways, proves why I'm confident about what VaynerX does. VeeFriends is creative. I'm inventing, and currently it's going quite well, a Pokemon, Disney, Marvel, Sesame Street like intellectual property that has a incredible kids book that is crushing, a YouTube kids show that is made by the people that make Coco Melon and Moonbug with me in cahoots, a Topps trading card that is coming out nationally this spring, 2025, an NFT project that is one of the 15 NFT projects that's still doing incredibly well in a world where 99% went to zero. I'm going on an offsite next week to literally make music and comic books for this IP. I think it shows that our founder and our leader is inherently creative. One of the things that I hear from a lot of people in the industry over the last 15 years, especially when I'm at Cannes, is like, Gary, you're not about the work. What they're really saying is, Gary, you don't respect TV commercials. And I say, you're right, because they suck. Like this incredible company, you guys, you cover in your .com magazine commercials that stink, that the industry talks about, but no human likes. I believe in creativity. I think creative is the variable of success. And VeeFriends is my creative outlet because being an agency owner, we are at the mercy of the people that are signing the checks. I don't get to make the final calls. I have to service the client. I will fight like heck if I believe in something, but at the end of the day, there's an old Russian saying that my dad told me a lot as a kid. It translates to whoever's paying for the music gets to pick the song. And I live that life. Even though I have convictions and passion, I am who I am. I have a lot of humility in that, like I'm the service provider to our CMOs and our brands, and ultimately they get to make the pick. Thus, that waters down a lot of the creative things that I would hope to make, that I'm sure a lot of creatives that are watching this can understand. VeeFriends allows me to do it my way, all the way. And GaryVee, my personal content, has been a gift. I wake up every morning to dozens, which is insane, texts, DMs, or emails of people thanking me for a video they just watched in the last 24 hours. And I'm proud of that. And that goes back to my mom and wanting to do the positive thing to not just for yourself, but help others. VeeFriends allows me to do that to a younger demo. I was very affected when TikTok came out because my message started hitting 14 to 20 in a way that it hadn't before. And I realized, wow, you're molding people at 15 very differently than you are at 30, right? Old dogs, new tricks. So you're getting to them earlier. VeeFriends allows the things that my mom taught me to spread to a much younger audience. And so it's been really fruitful, really rewarding, and I'm excited about it.
Can you just elaborate on what some of those things are that your mom taught you?
My mom taught me purple. You know, I think the world right now is incredibly red and blue. And what my mother did, my mother is the sweetest, most empathetic, caring woman on earth. She could be tied with your mom, so don't be mad at me, but she's right there. She's also a Soviet woman. You know, she was born in the USSR, grew up there, came to America when she was 20. I was born in the Soviet Union. So my mom doesn't fuck around. Like all these kids, all your kids disrespecting you to your face, my mom doesn't play. I grew up in the 80s too. So that meant when I never even thought about it because would never disrespect my mother, but the occasional time that she misinterpreted what I was doing as something disrespectful, it wasn't like, oh, let's talk about this and have feelings. It was minimum grounding. And if she was really frustrated, it was a smack to the face. She didn't play. And so what my mom taught me was a lot of great things. One, she taught me accountability, which is a lost art in parenting. She taught me responsibility. But most of all, she taught me compassion, empathy, sympathy, and love. The level that she would react. I was naturally kind. I got very lucky with my DNA. A lot of it's my mom's DNA. So I was naturally caring and empathetic to other people. But when I was the way my mother championed my kind behavior, gave me trophies verbally for kind behavior, reinforced me wanting to do it more. So I came out with a lot of the good ingredients, but she cooked. She cooked it right. And she held me accountable. I was a terrible student. Even though I knew that that wasn't what my self-esteem was and it wasn't wrapped up in it, when I got bad grades, she held me accountable. She never made me think I was dumb or that I wouldn't be successful with bad grades, but she held me accountable for not delivering good grades. So there was consequences. She taught me there was consequences. She taught me there was no excuses. I was really good at baseball from 2nd to 5th grade. Then I didn't get stronger, bigger, fast enough. And one time I struck out in a big spot and I came into the car after the game and I tried to blame the sun. It was in my eyes. She shut that down real quick and it was really powerful. You know, now you got parents like going to kids' schools, fighting with teachers. She didn't fight my fights. She taught me so much.
That was amazing. Kind of switching gears here, who are the types of partners or clients or brands your companies find most essential? And share some examples if you can.
Clients, man, this is a great story. We were very fortunate. One of the things I pride myself in is VaynerMedia is only 15 years old. And we have almost 100 employees that have worked here for 10 years or more. This is family business. And we have a similar thing with clients. We have a very good retention rate. And I have a pretty good feel of what kind of clients we like working with or the kind of partners we're looking for. We're looking for people that are honest. Like, this is all real stuff. Like, as great as we are, in my mind, we make so many mistakes. We're human. It is what it is. It's life. And so, you know, I think the thing that I've always struggled with is when people aren't upfront, you know, like getting caught off guard, like having a meeting in September and everything's great, and then like getting an email from that person saying we're not renewing in the upcoming year. Just feels not authentic. And by the way, let me be very vulnerable. Candor for people I care about and like has actually been the kryptonite of my career. So I actually have never really gotten mad about it because I would be a hypocrite. But as I've changed my behavior over the last 5 to 7 years and gotten much better at being able to deliver kind candor, you know, it makes me yearn for it on the other side. So I think authentic partnerships where you can talk about the good, the bad, or the ugly, I think is something we really look for. We also really look for people that are smart. We have a fun joke internally, like we win with winners and we lose with losers. Like, you know, what it refers to is we're different. And I think a lot of agencies say it. It's been really fun. We're growing very fast, so we're hiring a lot of senior people right now. And I literally had drinks this Tuesday with 5 people, 3 were very new. And I was like, so what's up? And they were like, you know, what's up is when I was interviewing with Gary, because I tend to interview at that level, you would talk about being different, but that's what every agency has told us, or me. And this is the first time I feel it. We are religious about our craft, but our craft is not the production value of a commercial. Our craft is knowing all the skills, both quant and qual, that are required to get creative and social, to get organic views. Very different. A lot of science in our art. And so I think that we are very unique, and our clients sometimes sign up for us and then want us to be Droga or Mischief or Widen or Starcom or Social Code the next week. And we remind them you hired Vayner. And that's tough. I had a company-wide meeting last week where I compared all of us in the company to chairs. I said, you guys we're all being a bunch of chairs. And most of the company, I could tell by the chat, had no idea what I was saying, and I was slow playing it because I wanted to make a point. And I said, we at our worst are folding like cheap chairs when we get pushback, when we know we're right. I think we're looking for clients that have the appetite to deliver on the hyperbole that they tell us up front. Clients, and this, for everybody who's in agency life watching this, you know this. Clients always tell us, we want you to push us. We want you to push us. We fucking push. And a lot of times when we push, they don't like it. And so we're looking for clients that are open, who are curious, and who are finally ready to stop acting like it's 1996, like, and are finally willing to act like Don Draper's not the most handsome, even though he's fucking handsome. And we're looking for them to understand the truth, which is our industry is often delusional and insular, and the real world is changing. And the reason so many brands took social in-house is because big agencies couldn't deliver on social and we couldn't get to everyone. And so if we don't bring value, we won't exist. And so we're looking for clients that are ready to live in the year that we actually live in.
Can you tell us a little bit about your founder journey and what prompted you to build your companies?
Vayner's a fun story. I was thinking about a lot of different things. I had built a large business for my father as my first chapter. So I spent 22 to 34 those years, when I was 22 to 34, 1998 to 2006, building my dad's business. I really revolutionized the wine business. A lot of good Google search results to this. I launched one of the first e-commerce sites in the country, one of the first email newsletters, period, let alone in wine. I was on Google AdWords day one, changed my dad's business, and then really popped off on YouTube. I started a YouTube show within the first year of YouTube's existence called Wine Library TV, where I got internet famous. I was much less famous back then than internet famous is now, when they're the real celebrities. And it exploded my dad's business. I was a first mover on Twitter and an early investor in Facebook and Twitter, which really changed the course of my career, as you can imagine, financially, but also from a brand awareness and a personal brand standpoint, I started getting known. I was one of the first 25 people to have 1 million followers on Twitter in the world. That led to brands in 2005 and 6 and 7 and 8 reaching out to me, 7 and 8, to reach out to me cold on email or Twitter, like literally to my wine library email. Hey Gary, the wine guy, we're Pepsi, we're Reebok, we're Nike. We'd like to learn why do you have 1 million followers on, it was literally like, why do you have 1 million followers on Twitter and we have 54 and we're Nike and you're some random kid in New York, in New Jersey doing wine. So I took a couple consulting gigs. The one that really popped off was ESPN. I did a meeting at ESPN. They paid me $5,000 for an hour, which blew my head off. I thought it was the most money of all time. I got out of it, I enjoyed it. I always knew I was a marketer, but I was also an operator and a CEO. I was a businessman and a marketer. And I just realized that there was an opportunity that nobody knew what was about to happen with social, from what I could tell in advertising. And I thought I did. And I wanted to go all in. I called my brother, he was still in college after this ESPN meeting. And I said, I think I have an idea. Because we knew we were gonna start a business together. We'd always been entrepreneurial together. We were gonna start a fantasy sports site. We're gonna start a deal of the day site like Groupon, which probably was a good idea. We should have done that. We started VaynerMedia. And what we did at first was brands like Campbell's Soup and the NHL and PepsiCo. My brother's laptop literally created the Facebook and Twitter accounts for those clients. Our original premise of the business was create social media accounts and community manage. Reply to people leaving comments on the wall, because Facebook didn't have the feed yet. It was just a wall, like MySpace, if you remember. And so when people would show up on the NHL's wall, we'd be like, thank you, or watch the game tonight. So it was a lot of community management at first, and then obviously it evolved into what it is today.
Can you tell us about your first job ever and how that shaped the kind of leader you are today?
My first job ever. So that's always a historically tough question for me, because the only time I've not owned my own thing is when I worked for my father's business. And by the time I was 16 years old, I already had a lot of say in that business. It was a real immigrant life, and I was who I was, and my dad was who he was. The first thing I ever did was sell lemonade. It was very instrumental in my life. I'm not kidding. I'm literally sitting here in hindsight because of how my lemonade career went. I made the lemonade. Wasn't very good, I'm sure. But instead of standing behind the booth, I would make Robbie Turnick or Marissa Bird or Eric Godfrey or Andy Greco or Bobby Duffy, a friend in the neighborhood, stand behind the table. And I would walk Tingley Lane and try to figure out where to put the signs. I wrote a book recently called Day Trading Attention, where I believe knowing where the attention is is the only other variable besides the creative being the variable in marketing. I tried my little ass off to make the best lemonade sign for 10 cents. Even back then, when I think about it, I always knew how to make 10 cents big. Like, I was good. It was natural. But the fact that, this blows me away, and I'd forgotten about it for 30 years until I reminisced, or my mom mentioned something. The fact that I intuitively at 7 and 8 years old knew that where I put the sign, which tree, which pole, at what angle, at what height, and not only, this is insane what you're about to hear, because it's insane to me. Not only would I think that hard about where I'd put it, I would then sit and watch cars drive by to see if I could see if the person saw it and would adjust the sign. It impacted my entire career. My first job. I learned that marketing mattered and that I could sell the same amount of lemonade every day, but if the sign was better and placed in a better spot, that I'd sell more lemonade. And if it wasn't, and it was in a worse spot, I'd sell less lemonade. And that's how I did my baseball card tables. When that became my next reality, I would set up my table very strategically. Older dealers, because I was a kid, I was 12, 13, 40-year-old men would make fun of me because I would be like so weird. Like the show would start and I'd be setting up for another hour. They used to try to be nice to me too. They'd be like, hey kid, you gotta get ready before the show starts. And I would look at them and be like, you don't know anything. I need to spend the first hour analyzing what everyone's doing and what stands out. I would build like towers of boxes. I would do anything to make you stop at my table. And then finally, when I started working for my dad at 14, I watched every single customer walk through his store and I would figure out where they would stop, how, what sign, what product should I put in front of it? What should I put at the register? What should be the end cap? Why are they not turning left for the beer? We need to sell beer, make them turn left. Build a display that doesn't make them go down that aisle so they have to go down the beer aisle. I mean, crazy shit in hindsight. Human behavior, attention, marketing, operations. That lemonade stands the foundation of my career.
Can you describe your work personality and leadership style?
It's always kind. I'm very proud of that. When I die, that's what people will say at my funeral, and that's what I'm most proud of. To me, nice guys finish first. It's actually something I need to rebrand. Nice guys finish last is like the worst fucking statement on earth because it teaches guys the wrong thing. Nice guys finish first. I'm funny. Like I think I try to keep it, like I think I'm very good at countering what's happening, meaning when it's really bad, when like people are scared politically or when something's happening in a business, I think I step up. I take the angst out of the room. I make everyone feel safe. I'm proud of that. On the flip side, when my company's getting a little entitled or a little soft, I'm comfortable reminding everyone like, let's stop fucking around and let's bring it. I think I'm my mother's son.
And what do you really love about your job?
The accountability, the freedom, the responsibility, the creativity, the competitiveness, all of it. I love it. I'm a firefighter. Every day I wake up, I have problems. Singapore this, LA that, London this, New York that. But I'm built for it. I like it. I want it. I want the ball with 3 seconds left and the whole stadium's watching. And if I miss the shot, then I have to deal with the reporters after the game and own it. And if I make it, the crowd cheers and it feels good. And I'm up for that challenge.
And then last question, can you talk about your team and why it's built for success?
My team is so everything. It's built for success because I lead with no fear and they learn to do that too. They, especially for people that are here for over 5 years, like I thank them so much. They care so much. I feel confident that I've created the rationale for that, but I think we're built for success because we like each other, because we care for it, because it doesn't feel like a corporation. And that because we're really doing, the thing I'm most proud of, and I see it in my team, is we want our clients to actually sell stuff. Like we want the marketing to work. We are not doing work for our own portfolios so that we get a good article in your amazing publication so it leads to new business. We've got all that covered. Our team is built for success because they care and they're good people. And I love them a lot.